You're watching the best high school sports broadcast produced entirely by students and adult volunteers. This is Arrow TV.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Arrow TV. I am Cam Corey, your host for tonight's contest between your Watertown Arrows and the Huron Tigers. The JV game just completed where Huron did defeat Watertown by 4. A close, action-packed junior varsity matchup. We expect that to continue into our varsity match yet tonight. This is a rivalry game between the Huron Tigers and your Watertown Arrows, and it's an ESD rivalry game. When we do our Arrow spotlights, there are 2 Arrow players, Jade Lund and Grace Corey, who talked about one of their favorite basketball memories was playing the Huron Tigers on their home court last year. So I know that the Arrows are ready for this. They've been looking forward to this matchup, and so have we. Both these teams are on the court. They're warming up, getting ready for action. So let's first talk about the Huron Tigers. Huron Tigers are coached by first-year head coach Cody Kaufman. And a very fun fact about Coach Kaufman is his sister is on the team. She's number 32, a senior forward, Carson Kaufman for the Tigers. So kind of an interesting dynamic. We hear about fathers coaching their daughters. I think it's a little bit rare instance where we have a brother and sister, one being coach, one being player. So interesting dynamic. I wonder how family gatherings go in that home. So Huron comes into tonight with a 5-4 record. They are a good road team. They're 4-2 playing in their away games. They currently sit in 7th place in the AA power points. As we look at the the Huron Tigers a little bit further, we can expect them to match up against Watertown with an aggressive man-to-man defense. And offensively, Huron revolves around the three-point line. They're not afraid to take shots, and a lot of shots beyond that three-point arc. So we anticipate we're going to see a lot of that tonight as well. As we break down the players for Huron, they come in with a little bit more experience than the Watertown Arrows in a little bit more senior leadership. As we talk about them, they will be starting Bryn Huber. She is a 5'4" senior guard, and she shoots a team high of 79% free throws. She averages 3 points per game, 2.6 rebounds per game, 1.6 assists per game, and 1.3 steals per game. Number 20, Kristen Janes, is a 5'6" senior guard. She's also a starter, and she is averaging 3.4 points per game and 4.9 rebounds per game. Hampton Hines, she's a good one, folks. She's a 5'8" junior guard, and she is leading the Huron Tigers in points per game this year with 15.1. She has 4.3 rebounds per game and 2.1 assists per game. So she's a good one. We look to her to be aggressive on the court. She's, again, not afraid to shoot that, and she's going to shoot the ball quite a bit tonight. Number 32, Carson Kaufman, the sister to Coach Cody Kaufman. She's a 5'11 senior forward. She's averaging 1 point per game and 1.6 rebounds per game. Another good one, she's a senior guard, a 5'8", Isabel Elwine, number 33, and she's an average of 11.1 points per game and 4.1 rebounds per game. She shoots 26% from the three-point arch, as do several of those Huron Tigers are shooting 25% or better from the three-point arc. Hilton Hines, number 22, she's a 5'7 freshman guard. She's going to come off the bench, and she's also a good one, averaging 2.2 points per game and 2 rebounds per game. Number 34, Heaven Gainey, a 5'7 senior forward, is going to come off the bench tonight, and she's a leader in the team in a couple of different categories. She is a 40% three-point shooter, so very good from that perimeter. The Arrows will have to keep track of her. She's averaging 8.3 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, 1.9 assists per game, and 3.3 steals per game. They're also likely to bring number 42, Elizabeth Heinen. She's a 6'1 junior forward off the bench as well, and 2 point per game average with 2.5 rebounds per game average. So the Huron Tigers play a strong 8 players, and so they go 3 deep generally off the bench. We'll see what happens, of course, tonight. Now we talk about the Watertown Arrows as we prepare here on our Arrow TV pregame. Watertown is coached by first-year head coach Chad Rohde. He is assisted by former prep and college standouts Mackenzie Bulow. She played her prep days over with Clark Willow Lake, and her college career was a good one at Valley City State up there in North Dakota. Also assisting Coach Rohde is Stacy Schooley Hendricks. She is a former Arrow standout and USD Coyote. And Taya Miller, she makes her debut with the Arrows this year. Of course, she's been with them for the entire year, but prior to this, she was out in Spearfish. And so she has come home to help coach at her alma mater. And she, of course, was a phenomenal player in her own right for the Watertown Arrows and then for USD on their national WNIT campaign. She was a guard for them then. So good leadership from the coaches and experience for this Watertown Arrow squad. There's some common opponents. So Watertown, is 5-5 on the year, and they're 2-1 at home. But some common opponents for between the Arrows and Huron, there's not many. There's only 2 teams that each team has played. Both teams have played Brookings. Watertown defeated them in the first game of the year, 59-54. Huron has played Brookings twice and defeated them both times. The first matchup, Huron won 60-38, and the second matchup, Huron did defeat the Bobcats 50-40. The second team that both teams have matched up against is Yankton, and the Watertown Arrows defeated Yankton 57-37, and Huron defeated Yankton 50-39. I've mentioned this before if you've tuned in to Arrow TV and the Watertown girls basketball program, they play with confidence on their home court. They are aggressive and they have fun, and you can see it. They share the ball, and as we talk about some of these players tonight individually, you're going to see that there is a good balance in scoring, rebounds, assists, and that's exciting to see. And that's something that Coach Rohde is really talking about, is trusting one another, no matter who's on the court, to trust each other as they move forward and play the game together. So like Huron, we expect the Arrows to play an aggressive man-to-man defense. Offensively, we expect the Arrows, they're going to run a pass and cut offense, looking to get the high percentage shots. They will take some three-point buckets, but they are a team that drives to the basket, cuts to the basket, and looks to get into the paint. Some things the Arrows are going to look to do tonight is limit their turnovers. They've been doing a much better job with that as of late. As the season goes on, they've been cutting down on those turnovers. And tonight against the Huron Tigers, they are going to look to win that rebounding battle. As we talk about some of these players individually, we'll talk about number 4, a senior, Maddie Rohde. She's one of the leaders for this Arrow team. She's a 5'7" senior guard. She's averaging 10.3 points per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, 1.4 assists, and 1.4 steals. She is a USD Javelin commit, so she's a multi-sport athlete, as many of these girls are, if not, or at least most of them, I would say, are multi-sport athletes for both your Watertown Arrows and your Huron Tigers. Another starter for the Watertown Arrows is number 5, Emery Thury. She's a 5'10" sophomore forward. She's averaging 6.5 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, and 2.1 steals per game. She's quick, she's long, and she's not afraid to go right at some defenders down there in the paint. The Arrows' leader, arguably, is Jada Young, a 5'8" senior guard. She's averaging a team best 11.2 points per game. She's averaging 5.2 rebounds per game, 2.7 steals per game, and 3.8 assists per game. Those are all leaders for the Arrows in all of those statistical categories. She is a Dakota Wesleyan University commit, so DWU in Mitchell. Will be getting a good one there. Defensively, Jada is quick. She does create a lot of problems for opposing defenses, and we expect that to continue tonight. Number 14, Miranda Falconer, is a 5'7" junior guard. She'll also be starting tonight for the Arrows. She is averaging 5.9 points per game and 2.3 rebounds per game and 1 assist per game. The 5th starter for the Arrows tonight is 5'9" senior forward Kendall Paulson. She's the 3rd senior on this Arrow club. She's averaging 4.5 points per game and 3.2 rebounds per game with 1.3 steals per game. Off the bench is a sophomore, 5'6" forward, Grace Corey. She's averaging 5.4 points per game and 5 rebounds per game, to go along with 1.6 steals per game. Number 24, Jade Lund, will also get a lot of time and a lot of minutes and contribute well. She's a 5'8" junior forward, and she is averaging 4.1 points per game and 2.4 rebounds per game. Unfortunately, Addie Johnston, she's a 5'6" junior guard. She did go down with injury tonight during the junior varsity action. She is sitting on the bench, and she is on crutches. We don't know what the extent of her injury is yet, but the Arrows will be missing her tonight. She's a 40% three-point shooter, so she gives the Arrows that threat from the outside, opens it up a little bit, and they will be missing her tonight. Also missing for the Arrows is a 5'11" junior forward in Avery Munger. She plays a lot of minutes, and she gives a good, strong presence down in the paint, and she is ill and will be absent tonight. So we wish the best to both Addie and Avery, that they heal and get well soon. The Arrows are definitely going to miss them. Also, so we expect Neely Johnson, a 5'8" junior forward. She may need to step up in a couple of different positions, and she has gotten some minutes this year so it will not be a surprise to see her on the court. Madison Grimsrud, a 6'1 sophomore center, she could do fill in a little bit for Munger tonight, down low in that presence. And then Molly Hendricks and Emma Hendricks, twins, both sophomores, round out the Arrow roster. Our production crew is one of the best that we have. It is produced by a group of student and adult volunteers, mostly students, and we appreciate their dedication to give you what we believe is the best coverage, the best camera angles that you're going to see in high school basketball. Tonight's crew on our main camera is Katie Liederbrand. On our courtside cameras, we have Spencer Remmers, Carter Remmers, and in the video switchboard, Parker Remmers. Video board graphics is Carter Miller. In the control room, we have Ryan Remmers. And our production is directed by Athletic Director Craig Boyens. We are about set here, and we're going to turn this over to the public address announcer, Mark Bellum.
At this time, we ask you to stand for the national anthem. The national anthem will be provided by the Watertown High School Band under the direction of Austin Fordham. Please show proper respect to the flag by removing your hat. Stand at attention with your right hand over your heart. Veterans and active duty personnel not in uniform may salute the flag. First, let's meet the Arrow cheerleaders. Brooklyn Dahl. Natalie Benson. Lauren Keller. Grace Martinson. Alexis Olsen. Erica Andrews. Mackenzie Lewis. Annabelle Brendan. Gracie Ryder. Arrow cheerleading advisor is Mallory Hoffman. And your starting lineups first for the Huron Tigers. Number 5, a 5'4" senior guard, Brandon Huber.
And there you have it. The starting lineups have been announced by public address announcer Mark Bellum. Coach Rohde gives a few last-second advisements to his team. Once again, the Watertown Arrows, as has been the case all season, they've been hit by the injury bug, they've been hit by the illness bug, and tonight is no different. Kaufman and Thury are going to be facing off here for the tip. And the Arrows are going to take possession to start off. Young at the top of the key gives it over to Rohde. On the left perimeter, Rohde to Paulson. Paulson to Jada on the right perimeter. She gives a left-hand dribble over to Falconer. Falconer is open for a three-pointer. She shoots, no good. Paulson gets the rebound. Out to Rohde. Rohde to Jada. Jada with the dribble. She picks it up. And we've got a whistle by the referees here, and not exactly sure what they're talking about other than a shot clock. I believe that's what they're talking about, if they've got the shot clock reset or if it is correct. They have 9 seconds on the shot clock right now. What they did is they corrected the time to 7:33, and they will remain with 9 seconds on the shot clock. Young to inbound it, and she does to Paulson at the top of the key, gives it over to the Rohde. Rohde gets a cutting Jada. Jada gets it and passes it out for a turnover for the Arrows. Miscommunication between Thury and Young. Inbound by the Arrows to James. James over to Huber. Huber with right-hand dribble, gets it across that 10-second line. To Hines, and Hines loses the grip there, so we have Huron with a turnover, so each team with one turnover here in the early going. Huron's looking at a half-court trap. The Arrows easily break that, get it to Rohde. Rohde to Faulkner at the top of the key, back to Rohde on the right perimeter. Rohde with the left-hand dribble, and she's going to reset this offense. And she gets to Young on the right perimeter. Young left-hand dribble, feeds Thury. And they are going to call Thury for a travel.
Can you turn your mic down? Or like move it away from your mouth? Yeah, that is like moving away from your mouth. It's like ear bursting.
James gets it across the 10-second line. Again, aggressively defended by Rohde. Top of the key. Elwine. Elwine tries to thread the needle into Kaufman down there, just too far, and a turnover for Huron. Inbound to Paulson. Paulson to Young. Young is at the center stripe. She gives it over to Rohde, and they get across that 10-second line. Faulkner on the left perimeter. Back to Rohde at the top. Rohde to the right perimeter to Thury, and back to Paulson. Paulson at the top of the key gives it to right side of Rohde. Rohde with a strong dribble and loses the handle, and it goes out of bounds. So here in the early going, 6:19 left of period number one. Arrows with 3 turnovers and Huron with 2. Huron inbounds it to Bryn Huber. Huber right-hand dribble, aggressively defended by Faulkner, making her go directions. Huber does break that. Hampton Hines for 3. So Huron takes a 3-0 lead here in quarter number 1. Threads the needle into Faulkner. Faulkner does maintain control, gets it to Paulson. Paulson takes the shot, no good. Huron is pushing it right up the court. Hines takes it right at Thury, does get stopped there at the 3-point. Gives it off to Huron. She takes the shot of Kaufman, no good, and a tie-up down below. So jump ball, and Huron is going to maintain possession here underneath their basket. Hines is going to inbound it, and she gets it into Elwine. Elwine right-hand dribble to the top. Gets it back to Janes. Janes left-hand dribble. She gets stopped. dishes it out to Huber. Huber with the three, no good. Rebound by Elwine, and turnover by Elwine, and Maddie Rohde takes it the other way. She goes directly into the paint, guarded by Bryn Huber. Bryn Huber is called for the foul. So that's going to be Huber's first foul on the evening, sending Maddie Rohde to the free throw line. She is a 72% free throw shooter. First one's up and no good. Jade Lund, a 5'8 junior forward, is going to give Emery Thury a short break. Rohde with the second one, and that one is good. 3-1 Tiger lead here at the early going. Huber gets it across, picked up by Falconer. Falconer is able to tie up Elwine, and possession goes to the Arrows. So Falconer's going to inbound it to Young. Young's going to get across that center court to Rohde on the right perimeter. She left-hand dribbles, and she is called for a travel. She did take that extra step, so good call by the officials on that one. Huber is going to be picked up by Young. She gets across that 10-second line to Hines. Hines is picked up by Falconer, and they've got her in a trap. She does break that. Huber comes down with the loose ball. Shot up by Janes, and Janes gets two. On the other end, Jade Lund goes in. She's got two. Travel is called on Huron, so that is their fourth turnover. So each team with 4 turnovers. Young is going to inbound it. Hilton Hines is on the court for Huron. Shot up by Watertown, no good. Hampton Hines gets it across the center court. She gets it to Huber on the left side and to Janes. Back to center where Hilton Hines drives. Strong drive by Hampton Hines, and she is fouled as she's going to the bucket. Miranda Falconer is called for her first foul. Hampton Hines is a 76% free throw shooter. She misses the first of the 2. Elwine checks back into the game for Kaufman. Second shot will be up, and that is good for Hines. She has 4 points on the evening. Young to Lund. Lund gets it across that 10-second line. To Jada. Jada's in the paint. Tries to get to Rohde. Does. Rohde skip pass to Young. Top of the key to Lund. Over to Falconer. Falconer back to Paulson. Paulson to Jada. Jada left-hand dribble. To Falconer. Back to Lund. Lund with a three-pointer. Front of the rim, no good. Rebound comes down by Hampton Hines, and she's going to take the right-hand dribble across the center court. She picks it up there in the front court, gets it off to Elwine. Elwine right-hand dribble to Janes. Janes tries to get it inside, loses, or the pass was not so good, unable to thread the needle, and Watertown does get the turnover. Young left-hand dribble looking for something. Paulson looks at the baseline, nothing going. Back to the top where Falconer. Over to Rohde. Rohde from downtown. In and out. Huron gets the rebound. Huber is going to take the point, and she's going to be picked up by Jade Lund there in the front court. 3:02 remaining in period number 1. Over to Elwine. Elwine with the right-hand dribble, picked up by Rohde. Giving Rohde a lot of trouble, or Rohde's giving Elwine a lot of trouble over there, to the point where Elwine does extend the arm and is called for the offensive foul. Grace Corey comes onto the court for the first time this evening. She's a 5'6" sophomore forward. Young to Lund on the right perimeter. Lund skip pass to Young on the left perimeter. Lund to Thury. Thury with a three-pointer. No good. Rebound is by Hampton Hines. Hampton's going to take it. She is picked up by Corey. Gets it off to Elwine. Top of the key. Picked up by Lund. Elwine drives, and she does take an extra step. So travel by Elwine. So the Tigers look like they're going to come out in a half-court type trap. The arrows get it across that 10-second line. As Jade was trying to get it to Rhodey, it does go off of a Tiger, but the arrows maintain possession. Young is going to take it out, and she does to Lund. Lund over to Rhodey. Rhodey with the right-hand dribble. She shoots, no good. And out of bounds. So the Tigers up 6-3 with 2:09 left in the first period. Both teams a little bit sloppy here. Several turnovers, 6 for Huron, 4 for Watertown. Low-scoring affair so far for two teams that really can put up some points when they get hot. Huron to Hines. Hines to Elwine. Elwine with the right-hand floater and gives the bank. And that's her first points of the night. 8-3 Huron. Over to Thury on the right perimeter. To Lund. Lund at the top. Over to Falconer. Falconer to Jada. Jada takes the three. No good. Rebound by Huron's Hines. She's going to take the left hand. Over to... They're going to call a foul on the arrows. So... they call Jada Young with her first foul on the evening. And I think Huron thinks it's a shooting foul, but I believe it should be underneath the basket, and it is. So Huron will inbound it, and they do to Kaufman. Kaufman to Huber. Huber over to Elwine. Elwine with a deep three, and she's got it. She's got 5 points on the evening. So right now we have the Tigers with 11 and the Arrows with 3. Coach Rhodey calls a timeout and is going to talk about some things. We will be back in just a moment. And we're back with you here at the Watertown Civic Arena. Jada Young gets it to Falconer across that 10-second line. Falconer top of the key over to Jada Young. Jada with the pass over to Corey. Corey left-hand dribble, nothing going, back to Falconer. Thury down there in the corner. Thury to Rhodey on a cutting. Rhodey, she dishes it out to Jada. Jada gives it back to Rhodey, no good. And they're going to call Thury with the foul there in the body trying to get the rebound. That's her first foul on the evening. So we have Watertown with 3 team fouls, Huron with 2 team fouls, and the Tigers up 11-3. The Arrows looking at a full court press there. They were able to trap Huber, and Huber just dribbled right through it, and Maddie Rhodey picks up her first foul. Full court press again by the Arrows, and they were working on trapping Elwine. The Tigers break it, and Hilton Hines goes into the paint for 2. 13-3. Huron up. Rhodey on the left perimeter gives it back to Falconer. Falconer at the top of the key, left-hand dribble, nothing going. Gives it back to Rhodey. Rhodey with the right-hand dribble to Paulson, nothing. Falconer cutting Thury. Thury with the right hand. Air ball, no good. Loose ball. And Rhodey comes up with that. Rody to Young. Young's going to set up this offense. The Arrows need a bucket. Over to Faulkner on the right perimeter. Faulkner left-hand dribble to Jada Young. Jada Young with the 18-footer, no good. Rebound Huron. And so the quarter number one is going to end with a score of 13-3. So very low scoring affair here, especially on the Arrows side. Might be the lowest output for a quarter that the Arrows have had this year. The Arrows are coming off of a game where they defeated Rapid City Central, and in that game they shot 65% from the three-point land. So they are not shooting well tonight. They're not getting good looks, and a lot of credit needs to go to the Huron Tigers. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, to start the second quarter, we have the Tigers will take possession. Hilton Hines over to her sister Hampton. Hampton gives it out for a three-point shot by Elwine. It goes in, out, and back in. So Elwine with her second three of the night. Rody gets it across the 10-second line. Right-hand dribble to Thury at the top. Thury with right-hand dribble gives it to Faulkner. Faulkner left hand, nothing going, gives it to Jada. Jada extends that left hand, and she is called for the offensive foul. So each team has earned an offensive foul by dribbling and extending the off arm. Tigers get it across that center stripe. Over to Hampton Hines, down low to that short corner. Elizabeth Heinen seeing the court for the first time tonight. A 6'1" junior forward takes that shot. No good. Arrows back on the other end. Young over in the corner. Skip pass to Thury, back to Faulkner. Rody, Faulkner, and back to Paulson. Paulson to Thury on that left perimeter. Jada to Rody on a cut, nothing going. They get the ball to Faulkner on the corner. She takes the three-point shot, no good. Thury gets the rebound, gives it back out to Paulson for the shot, no good. Jada Young with the rebound, and she gets the left-hand layup. So 2 offensive rebounds there for the Arrows, and they do come away with 2 points. 16-5 is the Tiger lead. Elwine picks up her dribble there, gives it over to Hilton Hines, right-hand dribble, and gives it to Janes. Janes to Elwine. Elwine down low, and turnover by Heinen. Rody takes the layup for the right-hand, underhand layup. She's got 3 points on the evening. Tigers come back quickly. Elwine, top of the key, picked up by Rody. Gives it over to Hampton Hines in the right perimeter. Hampton left-hand dribble to her sister. Gives it back to Elwine. Elwine with a deep three, and she's got another one for her 11th point of the evening. Arrows need to find Elwine and not let her get loose. Paulson to Jada. Jada back to Faulkner. Faulkner left-hand dribble. She goes in for that high percentage shot. No good. Rebound, Tigers. Hines, right-hand dribble, gets across the center stripe. She's going to go coast to coast, and she does miss the layup. Jada Young gets the rebound. Jada to Rody. Rody with a deep shot. No good. Rebound, Tigers. Tigers are going to push it up, and that's what Hines is doing. She goes straight to the bucket. Nobody stops her. And she gets 2 points. So Hines with 6 points on the evening. Huron leads 21-7 in the second quarter with 4 minutes, 56 seconds remaining. Watertown Arrow cheerleaders are comprised of Madeline I Ung, Marisol Dubon. Oh, excuse me, that's Huron Tigers. The Arrow cheerleaders are comprised of Erica Andrews, Natalie Benson, Annabelle Brendan, Brooklyn Dahl, Lauren Keller, Mackenzie Lewis, Grace Martinson, Alexis Olson, Gracie Ryder, and Erica Stadheim. The Arrows will inbound it. Jada Young, and she's picked up at the center court. She gets it to Rhodey. Rhodey right-hand dribble to Polson. Polson skip pass to Young. Young with the dribble, right-hand layup, and she's got her second bucket of the night for 4 points. Huber's picked up by Rhodey in the front court. Hines back to Huber. Huber back to Hines. Hines right-hand dribble back to Huber. Huber fake, takes a dribble, goes in, jumper, no good. Rebound, Corey. It's out to Lund. Lund to Rhodey. Rhodey brings it down, doesn't have numbers, and is resetting the offense. Jada Young to Jade Lund, over to Corey. Back to Rhodey in the corner. Rhodey right-hand dribble to Young. Rhodey on that left perimeter. She's going to drive in for the layup, and she isn't able to get that to fall. Hines comes down with the rebound for Huron. She's picked up by Corey at the top of the key, gives it off to Elwine. Elwine left-hand dribble on Jade Lund, and she does draw the foul, so she's going to go to the line while Jade Lund picks up her first personal of the night. First one's up and good. Elwine's got her 12th point of the night. She is a 61% free throw shooter. She averages 11.1 points per game, and she is already surpassed that in the first half. So she is having a good night for the Tigers. Jada Young is picked up by the Tigers. Gets it across the 10-second line to Jade Lund. Jada Young now at the top of the key with the ball. Gives it to Rhodey. Rhodey right-hand dribble, nothing going. There was a cutting Grace Corey, missed her. Gets it over to Jada Young, back to the top of Corey. Corey over to Lund. Lund sees the cutter. Corey shoots, and Corey's got 2. Looked like she was fouled there too, but did not draw that foul. The Arrows come back and off to the right perimeter. Now they're back to Huber at the top. Back to Huber. Elwine. Hampton. Hines. Hampton right-hand dribble. She goes in with the floater, and she is going to draw the foul. I believe that's going to be on Kendall Paulson. It's going to send Hampton Hines to the line. Hampton, 76% free throw shooter. And she misses the first of her 2 shots. 1 for 3 from the free throw line tonight is Hampton Hines. Second one's up, and she misses the second one. Jada Young gets the rebound. She pushes it up the court to Rhodey. Rhodey with a 3-pointer. No good. Rebound comes down to Bryn Huber of the Tigers. Huber drives down, dishes is out to James, no good. To Heinen. Heinen's down there working hard, and she ends up taking an extra step, defended aggressively by Rhodey, and she is called for the travel. Young to Falconer. Falconer gets it over that 10-second line to Young. Young sees Corey down low, gets it to her. Young passes down to Corey. Corey with a 2-point bucket, so she's got 4 on the evening. She picks up Huber there in the backcourt. Huber gets across that 10-second line. Huber gives it off to Hampton Hines. To Elwine, over to Huber. Huber right-hand dribble, over to Hines. Hines gives it back to Huber. Huber loses control. Falconer goes after, just about a turnover. Gives it back to Hines. Hines from downtown. That's a deep one, no good. Jada Young jumps up and grabs that rebound, and she is going to be fouled by Kristen Janes of the Tigers. So Kristen Janes picks up her first personal of the evening. Huron Tigers have 3 team fouls to the Watertown Arrows 7 team fouls. Falconer to Corey. Corey misses a cutting Rhodey, gets it back to the top of Falconer. Back to Rhodey. Rhodey right-hand dribble. Nothing going. She brings it out, gives it to Thury in the right perimeter. Back to Corey. Nothing going. Corey to Rhodey. Falconer at the top. Thury. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Gets it to Corey. Corey for 3. That's an arrow bullseye for the Watertown Arrows. It's her 9th point. Her 7th point on the evening for the sophomore. 44 seconds left in the half. Over to the left perimeter of Hampton Hines. Right-hand dribble. Arrows now playing a 2-3 zone. And an offensive foul by Hampton Hines. Jada Young stepped into that. She was set and drew the offensive foul. .23 seconds left. Turnover by the Arrows. And Hampton Hines did get the steal. She went in for the left-hand bucket and is fouled by Miranda Falconer. So not what the Arrows wanted to do here as we near the end of the second half. Hampton Hines, a 76% shooter. She gets that one to drop for her 7th point on the evening. Jade Lund will come back in for Miranda Falconer, who just picked up her 2nd personal. Hines. 2nd shot's up and no good. So the Arrows, 16 seconds remaining. Jade is going to set this up, and the Arrows are going to try and get the last shot of the half, and turnover by the Arrows. So 7.4 seconds remaining. Let's see if the Tigers can do anything with this time remaining. They do inbound it to Hampton Hines. Hampton's guarded by Corey. She gets it across that 10-second line. She's left-hand dribble, and looked like she traveled, not called. Shot, no good. So at the half, we've got the Huron Tigers up 24-16.
Financial investments are very important, but so are the investments of time and patience.
We will be back to the Watertown Civic Arena in just a moment.
Financial
Addie, I'm a junior. My parents are Carrie and Scott Johnston. My favorite basketball memory is the Rapid City trip. Favorite meal is Alfredo. My favorite subject in school is science. My favorite pro sports team is the St. Louis Cardinals. Favorite TV show is Friends. The person I look up to most is my brother. When I'm not playing basketball, I like to hang out with my friends and family. If I could travel anywhere in the world, I would travel to Italy.
Welcome back to the Watertown Civic Arena and Aero TV. We're at half here at the Huron Watertown girls game, where the Huron Tigers do lead your Watertown Arrows 24-16. As we look at some scores around the state, specifically the Watertown Arrows versus the Huron Tiger boys game that's being played in the Huron Arena, at half, the Watertown Arrows lead the Huron Tigers 33-27. As we look at some other ESD matchups, Harrisburg is leading Mitchell in a really low-scoring game, 20-12 in the third quarter. Close one between Pierre, TF Riggs, and Aberdeen Central. Pierre is up by 28-27 with 1 minute left in the half. As we look at our game here in the Watertown Civic Arena, low-scoring affair, especially for the Arrows. 16 points is what they've put up in that first half, and I know that Coach Rohde will be looking to make some adjustments with that. So let's look at some high scores for both teams. Kristen Janes with the Huron Tigers has a bucket, so she's got 2 points in the first half. Hampton Hines has a three-pointer, 1 bucket, and 2 free throws for 7 points. Isabel Elwine, no surprise here. She ends the first half with 13 points, 3 three-pointers in that first half. And Hilton Hines rounds out the scoring with a bucket. So she ends up with 2 points here in the first half. The Arrows on the other side, Maddie Rohde, who has 3 points, 1 bucket, 1 free throw. Jada Young has 2 buckets for 4 points. Grace Corey is leading the team right now with 7 points. She has 2 buckets and 1 three-pointer. And Jade Lund rounds out the scoring for the Arrows with 1 bucket, so 2 points. 24-16 is your score. The Huron Tigers have committed 8 turnovers to the Watertown Arrows 7 turnovers. So as we look at this halftime coming to a close, both teams, I think, are scoring a little bit lower than they want to be scoring. The Arrows have taken several shots. Those shots haven't dropped. They've had some decent looks. So they need to just continue shooting the ball. They are having some difficulty with that aggressive defense, man-to-man defense that the Huron Tigers are giving them. They're pushing them and keeping them beyond that three-point arc, not giving them some clean shots in the three-point arc. And the Arrows need to find a way to get their cutters the ball. Little air guitar going on in the Watertown Civic Arena. That's what we love about high school athletics and the community coming together. Kids and adults alike enjoying the atmosphere, having fun. and we enjoy the entertainment that these student athletes do provide to us. So Huron should take possession here and start the second half, and they do. The Arrows, oh no, it's the Arrows, excuse me, is going to take possession. So the Arrows will have possession, and they're going to start with Faulkner, Young, Rohde, Thury, and Paulson on the court. Gets it to Thury at the top of the key. Thury dishes to Faulkner on the left corner. She shoots, arrow, bullseye! Miranda Faulkner has her first bucket of the evening, 24-19. So the Arrows have gradually gotten back into this, only down by 5 here in the early going of period number 3. Huron on the other side, Arrows aggressive defense coming out in that zone, 2-3 zone. $15 seconds left on the shot clock. Inbound to Hampton Hines, back to Elwine. Elwine picks up her dribble, gives it back to Hampton Hines. Hampton with the skip pass over to Huber. Huber gets it into the paint to Elwine and then out to Janes. Janes takes a three-pointer, no good. Comes down with the rebound is Paulson, the senior. Jada Young over the 10-second line. She gives it to Thury over in the right perimeter to Faulkner. Faulkner back to Rohde. Rohde to Paulson. To Thury on that left perimeter. To back to Rohde. And Faulkner hits the deck there, and they are going to call Huron with a foul. So Kirsten Janes picks up her second personal there. Jada Young with the drive. She goes up, no good. Rebound comes down by Huron. Huron gets across the 10-second line. And they have a miscommunication. Turnover by the Tigers. Checking in is going to be Elizabeth Heinen. And she is going to be checking in for Carson Kopfman. Jada Young will be picked up there in the front court by the Tigers. Gets it over to Rohde. Rohde to Paulson. Paulson to Young. Young back to Thury. Faulkner on the left perimeter. She left-hand dribbles, goes in, loses the handle. Turnover. Picked up by Huron. Huber over the 10-second line, picked up by Maddie Rohde. She gives it over to Hampton Hines. Hampton Hines left-hand dribble at the top of the key, picked up by Thury. Now over to Huber. Huber gives it to Heinen. Heinen is trapped down there, and she is called for the travel, and she was picked up in that trap by the Arrows and stopped, and turnover for Huron. Jada Young over the timeline to Paulson, left perimeter, to Thury at top of the key, back to Jada. Jada to Rohde. Rohde at the top of the key. Left-hand dribble, spin move, over to Paulson. Paulson to Jada, nothing going. She tries to feed it into Thury. No good. 11 seconds left on the shot clock. Rohde dribbling to Faulkner. Faulkner to Thury. 4 seconds left. Rohde needs to shoot. She does. No good. And shot clock violation. So turnover by the Arrows. That's their 9th turnover of the game. Huron has 10. Huber picked up by Thury and gets it over to Elwine. Elwine gets it across that 10-second line back to Huber. Huber's going to set up the offense. The Arrows back in 1-2-2 zone. Trifecta for Hampton Hines. It's her first 3 of the game. She's got 10 points. The Arrows come right back. Rohde at the top of the key gives it over to Thury. Thury left-hand dribble. She stopped, gets it back out to Jada Young. Jada to Rohde. Rohde left-hand dribble and to Faulkner. Thury. Down in the corner to Jada Young. Sees a Paulson cutting. Paulson in the paint. She dishes it out to Rhodey. Rhodey takes the three. No good. And they are going to call the foul on Jada Young. It's her third personal on the evening. So that is something that Jada needs to be aware of. Checking in is Jade Lund and Grace Corey for Miranda Falconer and Emery Thury. Hampton, top to her sister. Sister at top of the key to Elwine. Elwine, Corey takes her down. She shoots, no good. And off of Huron. So good defense by the Arrows there. No fouls called. Coach Kaufman doesn't like it. He's asking for something, but he's not going to get it. Jada Young's going to come back for the Arrows over the 10-second line. Gives it over to Jade Lund. Jade back to Rhodey. Rhodey to Paulson. Back to Jade Lund. Or Jada. Jade Lund for the three. No good. Rebound. Huron. Elwine. Picked up by Rhodey. Elwine left-hand dribble. She's stopped. She's going to get off to Huber. Huber top of the key. Over to Hilton Hines. Back to Elwine at the top of the key. Elwine takes the drive. And they're going to call Jada Young for the foul, I believe, which is going to be Jada's fourth foul. So that is a concern for the Arrows. Jada Young is the high average scorer for the Arrows. She is the high average rebounder. So this is a concern, and she is going to take a seat while Miranda Falconer comes back into the ball game. Elwine gets the first one to drop, so she's got 14 points on the evening. Huron Tigers up by 9, 28-19 with 3:32 remaining in period number 3. She gets the second one. 15 points for her on the evening. Lund at the top of the key to Paulson on the left. Falconer in the left corner. Brings it out top of the key, gives it to Paulson. Paulson over Jade Lund. She feeds Corey. Corey brings it down, nothing going. And jump ball is called, and possession is going to go to Huron. They're going to get into Bryn Huber. Bryn's going to be picked up by Corey. In the front court, left-hand dribble to Elwine. Elwine over to Hampton. Hampton with the shot. No good. Front rim. Corey with the rebound. Gets it to Rhodey. Rhodey's going to bring it over the 10-second line. Rhodey to Jade Lund on the right perimeter. Lund to Falconer. To Corey on the left perimeter. Corey gets it to Paulson. Paulson back to Jade Lund. Jade Lund, left-hand dribble. Into the paint. Nothing going. Back to Falconer. Back to Rhodey on that right perimeter. Rhodey left-hand dribble to Falconer. Falconer looks inside, nothing going. 7 seconds on the shot clock, gets it to Lund. Lund takes the shot, no good. Corey and Elwine go up for the rebound. They tie up, and possession should remain with the Arrows. So the 5'6" Corey and the 5'8" Elwine end up tying up there. Falconer into Rhodey. Rhodey to Paulson. Paulson's going to take the shot. No good. Rebound. Huron. Hampton picks up her dribble. Gets it over to Kaufman at the top of the key. Kaufman to Hilton Hines. Hilton back to Hampton. Hampton picked up by Falconer. Now to Elwine, top of the key. Elwine picks up her dribble, and she gives it to Janes. Janes left-hand dribble picked up by Rhodey. Picks up her dribble, gets it over to Hampton Hines. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Elwine working with Jade Lund. Jade, good defense. Air ball by Kristen Janes, and shot clock violation for the Huron Tigers. So turnover by them, good defense by your Watertown Arrows. Maddie Rohde, you can get over that 10-second line to Jade Lund, left perimeter. She tries to feed it into Kendall Paulson, and just a little high, little hard, goes out of bounds. So their 10th turnover of the evening. Huber picked up by Falconer. Huber gets it over center court. Trapped there by Falconer and Rohde, and Coach Kaufman calls a timeout to save the possession. (29-19) with a minute 15 left in the third period. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Arrow TV as we get going here with a minute 15 left in the third period. Offensive foul is called on Huron. I believe that is going to be called on Hilton Hines, the 5'7" freshman guard. That's her first foul. Maddie Rohde will bring it across, picked up by Huber, gets it to Corey on left perimeter. Corey right-hand dribble, picked up, gets it to Paulson. Paulson over to Rohde. Rohde to Jade Lund, and they're going to call Rohde with a travel. Turnover for the Watertown Arrows. So credit to the Huron Tigers. Their defense has caused a lot of problems for the Arrows. The Arrows have been out of sorts in their shooting, in their possession game offensively. And I think the credit needs to go more to the Huron Tigers than it does to, the Arrows not playing well. 3-point attempt by the Tigers, no good. Pushed up the court by the Arrows. Rohde, top of the key, gets to Corey on left perimeter, over to Jade Lund in the corner on the left-hand side. Resets the offense, does Maddie Rohde, the senior. Over to Corey on the left perimeter. Misses a cutting Rohde, sees her on the right perimeter and does get it to her. Nothing going. Skip pass to Lund. 4 seconds left in the room. She needs a shoot. She does a three-pointer. Bank shot, and they're going to give it a 2-point shot. So off of one leg, hopefully that's some momentum that the Arrows can ride into this fourth quarter, as we have a period break of 29-21 to start the fourth quarter.
I'm gonna go back down. Grace.
Welcome back to the Watertown Civic Arena and Arrow TV. low scoring game here tonight between the Watertown Arrows and the Huron Tigers. 29-21 starting off the fourth quarter. Skip pass over to Huber. Huber left-hand dribble to Hampton Hines. Hampton back to Huber. Huber looking inside, nothing going. Does find Elwine, and she shoots a 14-footer, no good. And jump ball between Jada Young and Elwine. So Jada Young playing with 4 fouls to start this fourth quarter. Paulson on the left perimeter to Falconer at top of the key. Falconer passes up that three-point shot. She looks at Thury down low. Thury tries to split the double team. Nothing going. Gets it back to Jada Young. Jada to Rhodey. Rhodey back to Paulson. Paulson. Arrow bullseye. That's 3 for Paulson. Arrows down by 5. Elwine down there at the 13-foot line about. And she's going against Jada. Jada is got 4 fouls, and so smartly the Huron Tigers go right after her down low, and Elwine gets the bucket. 17th point on the night for Elwine. Arrows down to Paulson. Paulson shoots the 15-footer, no good. Elwine with the rebound, gets it off to Huber. Huber brings it into the front court, picked up by Maddie Rhodey. Over to Janes. Janes looks inside, sees Hampton Hines. She's guarded by Falconer. Falconer good defense by Falconer. Wasn't sure exactly what happened there. And I'm not sure exactly why the Tigers got possession. I like to say, as a volleyball commenter, the ball never lies, and in that case, they shot, missed, and the Arrows got it, but the Arrows turned it right back over. So Huron is okay in slowing some things down as they are up by 7. Hampton on that left perimeter, back to Huber at the top of the key. Huber bounce pass to Kaufman, back to Huber at the top. Huber down low and outlet to Janes, no good. Rebound Arrows. Jada brings it back, gives it to Falconer. Falconer to Rhodey. Rhodey to Paulson. Thury. Thury drives in and does get the layup for her first bucket of the game. 2 points for Emery Thury. 31-26, Huron leads. Hampton Hines on that right perimeter gives it to Janes. Janes over to Huber. Huber picks up her dribble, gets it to Elwine. Elwine skip pass over to Hines. Hines with the three-pointer, no good, front the rim. But Bryn Huber picks up the offensive rebound. That's a big rebound for Huron. Arrows can't let second opportunity shots happen, and they do get the steal there. And Young's going to bring it right back to Thury. Thury right-hand dribble, picks it up, gives it back to Jada Young. Jada right-hand dribble, gives it to Thury. Thury right-hand dribble, and she goes in for her second bucket back-to-back. That's 4 points for Emery Thury. Four minutes remaining. And timeout by Coach Kaufman of the Huron Tigers. 31-28, so Watertown slowly and gradually is getting right back into this game, and they are in it. So we'll see who can finish out down the stretch. We'll be back after this timeout. Welcome back to Aero TV. 4 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the fourth period. Huron up by 3. Team fouls, both low. Both have 2 team fouls apiece. The concern for the Arrows, Jada Young, number 12, has 4 fouls. So Huron would like her to draw her 5th, and Jada needs to be careful. Hilton Hines gives it over to her sister Hampton. Top of the key, Hampton into Janes. Janes outlet to Elwine. Turnover. Grace Corey checking in for Miranda Falconer. Jada Young to Corey on the right perimeter. Corey to Rhodey. Rhodey back to Jada. Jada left-hand dribble. Nothing going. Has to get it out to Thury and does at the top of the key. Thury to the corner of Paulson. Paulson with the 3. In and out. No good. Rebound Tigers. Elwine going to bring it up the court. Picked up by Thury, and she gets it to Hampton Hines. Hampton Hines guarded by Corey. She goes up for the shot, misses the shot, and Corey does get the rebound. Jada to Thury, back to Rhodey. Arrow bullseye! That's what we needed. Tie ball game, folks. Arrows 31, Tigers 31. New ball game. Elwine takes the 3-point from downtown. Deep shot by Elwine, and she gets her 20th point of the evening. So they take back the lead very quickly, 34-31. Huron on top of the Arrows with 2:41 remaining in this game. Welcome back to Aero TV and the Watertown Civic Arena. Huron on a 3-pointer by Isabel Elwine takes back the lead, 34-31. Arrows looking to counter back. Jada Young, top of the key, over to Rhodey. Rhodey on the corner, right-hand dribble, brings it back and gives it to Jada Young. Jada's picked up the top of the key. Rhodey. Bullseye! Maddie Rhodey! Her 11th point on the evening ties it back up. So the Arrows need to find Elwine. Keep an eye on her. She's got 20 points on the night. And they give it down to her at about 15 foot. Get to Hampton Hines. Hampton drives. And Elwine left alone, top of the key. Shoots, no good. Hilton Hines shoots, no good. Out of bounds on the Arrows. Coach Kaufman of Huron wants the foul to be called, but it wasn't called, and he's letting the officials know about his dislike for that call. So Huron will inbound underneath their own basket, and they get it into Hampton Hines. Hampton is picked up by Grace Corey. And she gets it down to Elwine. Elwine back out to Hines. Hines with the 3-pointer. No good. And out of bounds. So 34-34. 1:42 remaining. The Arrows have Rhodey, Jada Young, Kendall Paulson, Emery Thury, and Grace Corey on the court. Rhodey on the left perimeter. Right-hand dribble. Gives it off to Thury. Thury to Jada Young on the right perimeter. Jada back to Thury. Thury with the lay-in. 6 points for Emery Thury. Huber is going to be picked up by Rhodey, gives it off to Hampton Hines. Hampton over to Janes, back to Huber, back to Hines. Elwine's down there in the paint, and she's guarded by Paulson. And Janes is picked up, back to Elwine. Now Huber, Elwine over to Janes. Janes with the three-pointer, no good. And Rhodey comes down with the rebound. And the Arrows have numbers. What's Jada going to do? She gives it over to Corey. Corey decides not to take the shot. And the Arrows and Coach Rhodey calls a timeout. So with 48 seconds remaining, the Arrows up by 2. They have possession. Should be an inbound play from that deep corner, left corner. So we'll see what both first-year coaches decide to do. Both are talking to their teams, talking strategy, talking plans. And this is what those coaches live for. They like these close games. They like to strategize, and this is what keeps them up at night, are these close games. But this is what they also enjoy, too. So Huron is going to have Huber, Elwine, Hilton Hines, Hampton Hines, and Kristen Janes on the court. The Arrows are going to counter with Maddie Rhodey, Jada Young, Emery Thury, Grace Corey, and Kendall Paulson. 48.3 seconds remaining. Corey into Young. Young to Rhodey. Rhodey to Thury. Thury to Young. Young left-hand dribble to Paulson. Corey on that right-hand perimeter. Nothing going. Gets it to Thury. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. 6 seconds remaining. She's going to dribble in. She needs to shoot. She doesn't. Deep shot by Rhodey. No good. Rebound, Huron. 13 seconds remaining, and now Huron will call a timeout, and they will put together their best play. So the Arrows did not execute, I'm sure, as Coach Rhodey had drawn that up. Now Coach Kaufman will draw something up. I would suspect that Elwine and Hampton Hines are going to be the two players that are going to be the likely beneficiaries of taking the shot. As we look at Elwine is a 26% three-point shooter. Hampton Hines is a 27% free throw shooter. And Huron's going to come out with Hampton Hines, Janes, Hilton Hines, Bryn Huber, and Elwine. The Arrows have Corey, Rhodey, Thury, Paulson, and Jada Young. Huber and Corey at front court. Elwine, 6 seconds left to Hines. Hines to Huber. Huber with the shot. No good. Arrows win. Arrows win. The Tigers saw the shot. They took the three-pointer for the win. No good. Arrows win. 36-34. We'll be back for a post-game show in just a moment. Welcome back to Aero TV for the post-game show. Exciting one at the end. Both coaches strategized, and the Aeros come out on top with a 36-34 victory after a very slow start by the Aeros. They only scored 3 points in that first quarter, and they gradually worked. They didn't give up, and they end up coming out on top. As we look at the individual scorers, the Huron Tigers, Kristen Janes finishes the game with 2 points. Hampton Hines, she finishes with 10 points on the evening, 2 3-point buckets, a 2-pointer, and 2 free throws. Isabel Elwine, she's a good one, and we knew that coming in tonight. She's a leader for this team, and she puts a game-high 20 points on the board. She ends up with 4 3-pointers. Again, a 26% three-point shooter. At the end of the game, they didn't go to Elwine. They didn't go to Hines. They went to Huber. Huber had an open shot. It was a good shot and close, but just did not fall. Hilton Hines finishes out the scoring for the Tigers with 2 points. So off the bench, Huron has 2 points total. For your Watertown Aeros, and now your 6-win, 5-loss Watertown Aeros. They have several scorers, and Emery Thury comes in, finishes the game with 6 points, and all 3 of hers were 2-point buckets, and all in the second half. Jada Young, she is an 11.2 points per game average scorer. She ends up with 4 points. So the Huron Tigers did a nice job frustrating her and not letting her get to the basket. She ends the night with 4 fouls. She played nearly that entire fourth quarter with 4 fouls. And so she played within herself in that fourth quarter, because it was a concern if she were to foul out. Miranda Falconer gets on the board with an Aero bullseye, finishes the night with 3 points. Kendall Paulson has another bullseye. She finished the night with 3 points. Off the bench tonight, Grace Corey has a bullseye and 2 buckets, so she finishes the night with 7 points, and Jade Lund has 2 points on the evening. So the Aeros have 9 points that come off the bench in comparison to the Huron Tigers, who have 2 points. But it's got to go to tonight's player of the game, the senior, Maddie Rohde. She finishes the night with 11 points, but at the end she had 2 back-to-back 3-point shots, bullseyes as we call them here on Aero TV, and she finishes the night with 11 points with some very, very clutch shooting from beyond the arch. So the Watertown Aeros do take the win tonight. 36-34. They up their record to 6-5, while Huron, who is a good road team, and we saw that they're a good team, they were playing tonight without Heaven Gainey, who is a second high scorer, averager at least third high scorer for the Tigers. And the Tigers dropped to 5-5 on the year. We couldn't put on this production without our production crew. We got to thank our main camera person tonight, Katie Liederbrand, our courtside cameras of Spencer Remmers, Carter Remmers. Video switchboard is Parker Remmers. Video board graphics, Carter Miller. In your control room, we have Ryan Remmers. So coming up on Aero TV, we have a wrestling triangular on Thursday, January 26th. It begins at 5 p.m. That'll be brought to you by the SDSU Jackrabbit Hall of Famer, Brian DeYoung. He'll be your broadcaster that evening. We bring you some basketball coming up this Friday between the Arrows and Douglas. So we hope that you do tune in to Aero TV. Here in the Watertown Civic Arena and on Aero TV, life is like an arrow. It can only be shot by pulling it backward. So when life is dragging you back with difficulties, it means that it's going to launch you into something great. So just keep focused and keep aiming. And that's exactly what your Watertown Arrows did tonight. They kept fighting, they kept focus, and they kept aiming. They chose their flight tonight, and they end the night with a victory. This is Cam Corey signing off for Aero TV. Good night.
You're watching the best high school sports broadcast produced entirely by students and adult volunteers. This is Aero TV.